So there's 5 things that I believe are important when you create a company. And as an aside, I'm saying this to you because I think the culture of the Army obviously is very strong, but whatever you will lead, you will have your own personal impact on that culture. Just 5 things that are important in our company. Number 1 is attitude. And the thing that separates people the most in life, in my opinion, in business for sure, number 1 is attitude, number 2 is your ability to convince others of your ideas. So public speaking, I think, is something a lot of people avoid. 90% of people say it's the thing that scares them the most. Well, that means if you're good at it, you just pass 90% of the people. What else can you do that you're going to pass 90% of the people? Toastmasters is a very good thing for that, but I'm not going to talk about that today. So attitude, the thing to remember about that, it's 100% in your control. Every day you decide how the world's going to look at you. Every day. And there is no excuse for a bad attitude. 0. So in our company, it's not a request, it's a requirement that you will come to work every day. Passionate is the least used word in business and the most important word, I believe. Passionate to help our customers and help our people succeed. And if you're not willing to do that, we'll put somebody else in that seat who is. So at the end of every new hire, I speak, and I have done this for 16 years, and I say, if you're not excited to be here this week, quit. Don't make us find you. You'll never, when you make a hiring mistake, you rarely make a mistake because you thought somebody was smart and it turns out they're stupid. But you will make mistakes on someone's attitude, and I believe when you make that mistake, you take care of that mistake. Number 2 is candor. So I think it's extraordinarily valuable to understand the truth from people. And so in our company, we tell people, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, regardless of my title, I expect you to say you don't agree with me right now, here. But the one unacceptable behavior is to leave this room and then have a second meeting and talk about what you didn't like. That's a career ender in our company. Because back in 2001, when things looked extraordinarily grim, one of the things that saved us was candor. We had a guy come forward and say, you should downsize my group aggressively. That is not a normal conversation in business. Many businesses are based on your stature is based on how many people report to you. We don't believe that. We believe your standing in the company has to do with your impact. You don't have to have anybody report to you. So this gentleman gave up about half his organization because he said what he was doing for our company could not possibly prosper in the environment we're in. And we took those resources and we moved into a different program which absolutely exploded the company. We rewarded that person. You know, risk is an interesting topic on its own. Many people in IT specifically, which is where we live, the first thing they don't want to hear the word risk. We don't take risks. Well, if you don't take a risk, you just took a risk. If you don't make a decision, you just made a decision. There is no safe place. The question is not whether you're going to take a risk. You have to take risks to do anything extraordinary. Once you take a risk, you've got to monitor that risk. You've got to measure that risk, and if it's going in the wrong direction, change directions. But you have to take risk. Candor is an important part. So the interesting conversation about risk is what happens when you fail. Everybody says, yeah, we'll let you take a risk, but in many companies, when it fails, everybody acts like they weren't in the room when that decision was made. I don't know who set them off on that mission, right? I believe if you ask somebody to take a risk, and you certainly will in your lifetime, given what you do, if they attack it with passion, they attack it with integrity, and they get the most you should be able to get at is something, you got to make sure they're rewarded. Very publicly rewarded, in my opinion. Then everybody will want to take a risk. If you abandon that person, who's going to be the next person to take a risk? Our company, we are reinventing our company as we speak right now. We believe you have to continually risk. If you're not willing to risk, you can't do something spectacular. The third, and this is, if you have one takeaway, I'd like you to think about what I'm saying here. So I wanted our company to be based on a positive culture. Many companies are not. Many companies, everybody will tell you what's broken in some other part of the company, not the one they're in, by the way, not the one they're responsible for. Those guys are inept. Those guys, I'm waiting for somebody to come forward and say, I just realized I am incompetent. That would be an interesting conversation. Haven't had that one yet. But, so I started a saying when we started NetApp, which is catch someone doing something right. And every day, to this day, when I turn that BlackBerry on, I guarantee I'll have 5 to 10 messages. I make 15 to 20 calls all over the world to someone who's done something right. The reason I started is as we started to scale, I couldn't see it all. So I took my leaders together and I said, look, if you see somebody do something extraordinary to help our company, help our customers, if you'll tell me, I would love to tell them that we appreciate it. Well, today, 70% of the incoming mail I get every day on that is from peers. It's not from leaders. We had a guy in Atlanta, Georgia, about 2 weeks ago. He's a technical person, and he drove 4.5 hours to help a customer. Well, that's interesting. Maybe that's his job. The only thing, it wasn't his account, and he was on vacation. And he saw the problem on email, apologized to his wife, went and fixed the problem, went back on vacation. That's culture. He didn't get ordered to do it. Somebody had a problem, he knew how to fix it, he went and fixed it. Didn't ask. And the only reason I knew about it is to catch someone doing something right. I believe people leave companies, not for title and not for money. They leave because they don't feel appreciated, nor do they feel they can make an impact. And if you let someone leave because they don't feel appreciated, that's your fault. And we are not going to have that happen in our company. I tell people, if you don't tell me, I can't see it. One of the core reasons people feel they like working for our company is they feel appreciated. And you don't want people to come through for you because you're ordered to, you want them because they want to. So leadership rather than management is my fourth point, and of course that's the topic today. And I don't think management is that important. I think management is something you learn, I get it. But that's not what makes the world go round. The world goes round because of leadership. I'll tell you what every great leader in the world accomplishes. Everyone. Of course, different cultures, you'll lead differently. You'll have people that you think are great leaders that are quiet. You'll have some that are vocal. You'll have all kinds of leaders, but they all accomplish the same thing, which is people come through from not because they're afraid, not because they're intimidated. They just don't want to let them down. And you earn that. No rank they give you will make people feel that way about you. Nothing that they put on your business card makes people feel that way. It's your actions. I have a fundamental belief on leadership, which is people don't care what you know unless they know that you care. They just don't. So leadership is what makes the world go round, in my opinion. So his 4 points were: number one, embrace, understand the mission; number two, give them what they have, make sure they have what they need to succeed at the mission. The third one I thought is a tremendous point that most people miss, which is if you can remove the clutter that gets in the way of the mission. I understand we're not on target for the date we said. What could I do to help? You know, I'm working on these 3 things. Don't do that one. Really? No, I'll take care of that. Wow. Now I can get the mission done. It's all about succeeding at the mission, isn't it? And then the fourth one is lead from the front. There is no story about leadership where someone was in a room somewhere. It just doesn't happen. You've got to go help. You know, I kid around by saying you're not in our world, you're supposed to sell a bunch of stuff. Joe's one of our top sales guys. Joe, if I walk with Joe, you know, you're not on your sales target. Oh, gee, Tom, thanks for stopping by. I wasn't watching it. That's probably not the conversation. If I said to Joe, you're not on your target, what can I do to help? That's a different conversation. What can I do physically? Maybe I can make calls with you. Maybe I can supply something. What is it that we can do? Now we're doing this together. The reason I travel 250,000 miles is not just because I like the airline miles. The reason I do it is because if I go physically try to help, and then I ask them for something, they're going to try and help. No doubt about it. The last point that I believe is critical is to embrace change, both in your life, your personal life, and in your business life. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. And if you're staying the same, you're getting worse. So in our company, my simple way to end a meeting is, what are we getting better at? If you win at everything you do, you're not competing high enough. You have to go after something you can't do to prove to yourself you can. Nothing great's ever been. There is no story about greatness that doesn't start with the adversity faced. None. It's impossible. How could it be great if nobody ever lost at it? So remember that when you face adversity. It's not a matter of facing adversity. Sure you go. It's how you react to it defines you. So why don't we just open it up for discussion? But that's the core beliefs that are found in our company.